Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mahabharata Part 2, Chapter 17. Arjuna slaughters the Kauravas. Part 1. Krishna's confidence in Arjuna's success. Sometime before sunrise, on the 13th day of the battle, Yudhishthira rose from his bed, awoken by bards and minstrels singing his praises. Melodious songs were played as the Pandava king performed his morning ablutions. He was assisted by 100 servants who fetched water in golden jars, as well as soaps, unguents, perfumes, and other items. Yudhishthira's limbs were daubed with pure sandalwood paste, as Brahmanas chanted holy Vedic mantras. Servants then brought Yudhishthira his fine white garments and adorned him with fragrant lotus and champaka flower garlands. Having bathed and dressed, the king faced east and worshipped Krishna with Vedic prayers. His heart was absorbed in love. After this, Yudhishthira went before the sacred fire, making offerings to Vishnu and the demigods, invoking auspiciousness, and praying for victory in the battle. Emerging from his tent, Yudhishthira saw a number of aged and venerable Brahmanas. The old sages, 1,000 in number, were accompanied by a further 8,000 disciples. They uttered benedictions and blessed Yudhishthira, who distributed to them charity. The king gave away jars of gold to each of the Brahmanas and also gave them cows, horses, cloth, honey, ghee, fruits, and other valuable items. Then Yudhishthira entered the council chamber. He sat upon a throne made entirely of gold and covered with a precious silk carpet. When the king had taken his seat, Yudhishthira's orderlies came and decorated him with ornaments of pearl, gold, and priceless gems. The Pandava monarch shone like a mass of clouds, emitting bright flashes of lightning. Yudhishthira was fanned by gold-handled yak-tail whisks, which were as white as the moon. Bards again sang his praises, and the music and voices of the Gandharvas could be heard up in the sky. Outside the tent, a tremendous clatter of chariot wheels and horses' hooves resounded as the other kings and warriors came to the council. Conch shell blasts filled the air, and the measured march of the infantry seemed to shake the earth as the troops headed for the battlefield. And as the kings took their places in Yudhishthira's council chamber, after first bowing before him, a guard informed Yudhishthira that Krishna had arrived. Yudhishthira ordered that Krishna be shown in immediately and offered a fine seat by the side of Yudhishthira. Personally, Yudhishthira stepped down from his throne as Krishna entered, showing him to his seat. Taking the offering of Arghya held out by a Brahmana, Yudhishthira performed the worship of Krishna. Krishna then waved to Satyaki to sit with him, and the two Yadavas shared the same large throne next to Yudhishthira. And when Yudhishthira had taken his seat, he began by addressing Krishna. O Madhusudan, have you passed the night in happiness? Like celestials relying on the 1,000-eyed Indradev, we Pandavas depend upon you alone for victory, and indeed for our eternal happiness. Why, our very existence depends upon you. Therefore, if it pleases you, we ask that you somehow manage things in such a way so that Arjuna's vow is fulfilled. Please help us to cross this ocean of grief and wrath. O Madhava, become our raft, so that we do not sink into the vast Kuru sea. O Krishna, all glories to you. O Vishnu, O Hari, O Janardhan, you are the foremost of all men, and Narada Muni has pronounced you to be the best and most ancient of all beings. You always protect your surrendered servants, and we therefore seek your protection today. Krishna appeared pleased as Yudhishthira stopped speaking, and Krishna replied in a sonorous, full, loud, and deep voice. O King, in all the three worlds, including the heavens, there is no archer like Arjuna. That handsome hero will certainly slay all of your enemies, and I myself will drive Falguna's chariot, and I will do everything within my power to assist Kiriti. Today, you will see Jayadratha compelled to travel that road from which no traveler ever returns. Vultures, hawks, and jackals will feast on Jayadratha's flesh tonight. O Yudhishthira, even if Indradev and all the gods come to his aid, Jayadratha will still be delivered to death's domain. Tonight, the victorious Bibhatsu will report to you that he has slain the Sindhu monarch. Now, dismiss your grief and be attended with prosperity, my dear king. And as Krishna spoke, Arjuna himself entered the assembly. He came and bowed before Yudhishthira, who immediately stood up to embrace Arjuna. And still holding his brother, Yudhishthira said, O Dhananjaya, it is evident you will have a great victory today. Your appearance at this very moment portends it, as does Krishna's infallible blessings. Arjuna then touched Yudhishthira's feet and then went over to Krishna, bowing low with folded palms. Arjuna then took his seat, and the Pandavas discussed the strategy for the day. They had heard from their spies of Drona Acharya's plans to create a formation surrounding Jayadratha, protected at every point by the foremost of warriors. Deciding upon a suitable counter-array, the Pandavas got up and went out for battle. Krishna fetched Arjuna's chariot and equipped it with every kind of weapon. Dressed in effulgent gold armor, Krishna drove the chariot to the royal tent. Arjuna came out, circumambulating the chariot with his Gandiva in hand. Arjuna then mounted the chariot just like the sun rising over the eastern mountains. Satyaki climbed aboard with Arjuna, and the chariot moved off. Setting out to slay Jayadratha, Arjuna appeared like Indradev himself, accompanied by Varuna and Suryadev, setting out to kill the Asura demons. Countless musical instruments rang out, while bards and brahmanas sang Arjuna's glories, uttering benedictions. Hearing the chants and cheered by the other warriors as he went towards the battlefield, Arjuna felt confident and eager for the fight. And from behind him, a delightful breeze blew, bearing the fragrance of celestial blossoms. Arjuna spoke to Satyaki. I think my victory today is assured. These signs all around us point to it, and my mind feels enthused. I will soon penetrate to that very spot where Jayadratha stands, passing through all the heroes who might desire to see my prowess, and then go to the domain of Yamaraj. O mighty armed Satyaki, do not forget your prime duty to protect Yudhishthir. No one can vanquish you in battle, and the king is as safe with you as he is with me. So with you by his side, I will be able to attack Jayadratha with a peaceful mind. O Sabyasachi, I will not leave Yudhishthir as far as I am able. And so the two heroes continued talking as Krishna drove the chariot towards the plain of Kurukshetra, where millions of men had already assembled for the day's battle. Jaya Govinda, Jaya Gopala, Keshava Madhava, Dina Dayal. Dina Dayal Prabhu, Dina Dayal, Dina Dayal Prabhu, Dina Dayal. Shyama Sundara, Kanaya Lal, Girivaradhari, Nanda Dulal. Nanda Dulal Prabhu, Nanda Dulal, Nanda Dulal Prabhu, Nanda Dulal. Achyuti Keshava, Sri Radha Madhava, Govinda Gopala Hari. Achyuti Keshava, Sri Radha Vallabha, Govinda Gopala Hari. Hari Haraye Namaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Govinda, Jaya Gopal, Keshava Madhava, Dina Dayal. Dina Dayal Prabhu, Dina Dayal, Dina Dayal Prabhu, Dina Dayal. Chapter 17, Part 2. Arjuna defeats Dumarshana and Dushashan. As sunrise approached, Drona issued orders for his great formation. Calling for Jayadratha, he said, I will detail Karna to stand by your side. Karna will be supported by my own son, Ashvatthama, as well as by Shalya, Kripa, and Vrishasena. And they will have with them a force of 100,000 horsemen, 60,000 chariots, 20,000 infantry, and 14,000 elephants. And with you within its midst, this detachment will form itself into an array shaped like a needle. This formation will be protected by a second impenetrable array in the shape of a lotus. I will be at the head of that second formation. King Duryodhana and his brothers, as well as numerous other powerful warriors, will stand in that array. At the front of these two formations, I will create a semicircular array filled with warriors who will not retreat. At the foremost point before that will be an array resembling a cart, which will serve to draw in and capture any soldiers foolish enough to assail us from that direction. Indeed, I do not think that even Shakra, Indradev, thunderbolt in hand, could reach you today, Jayadratha. Now comforted, Jayadratha made his way to his position in the army. As he passed through the troops, they shouted out their battle cries. "Where is that Arjuna? Yes, bring Bhimasena here. I am ready to do battle." The warriors whirled their polished maces and brandished their swords. Maddened with pride, they roared tumultuously. They slapped their arms and blew their conch shells, proceeding swiftly and joyfully towards the battlefield. Gradually, carefully following Drona's detailed instructions, the Kauravas formed themselves into the strategic array Drona had designed. It stretched for miles and appeared like a collection of clouds covering the earth. The wonderful configuration appeared so formidable that no one could even imagine penetrating it. And at its rear stood Jayadratha, heavily guarded on all sides. Drona Acharya, clad in a coat of white armor and a beautiful turban, moved about making final arrangements. Seeing his shining chariot with its crimson horses and its flag standard bearing the mark of a kamandalu, a brahmana's water pot, and a deerskin, the Kauravas were delighted. Meanwhile, in the sky, the Siddhas and Charanas looked down with wonder at the Kauravas, spread out in their tremendous formation. Oh, surely they will devour the whole earth, along with its mountains, oceans, and forests. Duryodhana looked at his army with satisfaction. He still had many infantry, chariots, cavalry, and elephants left. Duryodhana gazed across the advancing Pandava forces. How would Arjuna ever fulfill his vow? Arjuna's promise had been rash. By sunset, the war could be over. Taking up his ornate bow, Duryodhana ordered his chariot driver to move off, eager for the battle to begin. As the Pandavas approached their enemies, they saw Drona's formation with amazement. It seemed to have no end and appeared like an ocean rolling across the battlefield towards them. Undaunted, Arjuna said, "O Krishna, just see Drona's attempt to thwart my vow. The front lines are at least 20 miles across, and it must be twice that distance deep. But I will seek out its weak points and break it apart with my fiery arrows. And before Drona's eyes, I will cut down that sinful Jayadratha." As the two armies converged, one of Duryodhana's brothers, Durmarshana, came to the front of the Kauravas, and roaring furiously, he exclaimed, "Watch now as I check Arjuna, like the shore resisting the ocean. Yes, let everyone see that irate and indomitable Dhananjaya collide with me, like a mass of rocks colliding with another. O warriors, either stay or turn back as you wish, for I will fight with the Pandavas alone in order to enhance my glory and fame." Durmarshana rushed across the field to begin the fight. He saw Arjuna's chariot at a distance with Hanuman sitting on its towering flag standard. The roars of the celestial ape could be heard throughout the Kaurava forces. Those roars mingled with the sounds of Arjuna's conchal, which he blew repeatedly as he closed upon his foes. Both sounds filled the hearts of the Kauravas with anxiety, as they again remembered how fiercely Arjuna fought when he was angry. Drona had his musicians strike up cheering melodies, but a deafening clamor already filled the battlefield. As Arjuna saw Durmarshana charging at him, he said, "Drive swiftly towards the Kaurava prince, O Madhava. I will meet his challenge and send him and all of his followers reeling." Krishna drove the chariot straight into the mouth of the cart formation at the Kaurava's head. As Arjuna faced Durmarshana, he was immediately surrounded by thousands of chariot fighters. Thinking of his son Abhimanyu, Kiriti began to slay them mercilessly. Worked up to the highest pitch of fury, Vijay scattered shafts in all directions. The heads of the opposing warriors fell like lotuses torn from their stems. Gold armor, splattered with blood, lay gleaming on the ground. Chariots were smashed, elephants slain, and horses deprived of their riders. Headless infantrymen ran about wildly, still clutching their swords, before falling lifeless to the earth. After a brief fight, Durmarshana was routed and put to flight. Now wounded all over his body, his armor shattered, and his flag standard broken, Durmarshana raced away from Arjuna. But Arjuna spared his life only to honor Bhima's vow that he would kill Dhritarashtra's sons himself. Within a short time, Arjuna had slain several thousands of his foes. Arjuna's chariot hurtled about with such speed that the Kaurava troops felt that there were hundreds of Arjunas, and in their fear and confusion they struck and killed each other. Crying out in agony, steeped in blood, many heroes lay dying on the battlefield. Whoever came towards Falguna soon found himself pierced by a fatal shaft. Why, no one could detect any weakness in Kiriti as he danced on the terrace of his chariot. Arjuna's bow always drawn to a circle, while Krishna's driving was most unrivaled as he constantly thwarted the attacks of the Kauravas. Indeed, Drona and the other Kaurava chiefs were astonished to see Arjuna annihilating their troops, just as the sun destroys darkness. The killing of Abhimanyu had clearly turned Vijay into a different person. Arjuna had been formidable before, but now Kiriti was fighting with a frenzied passion, showing no quarter, no clemency. The Kaurava warriors surrounding Arjuna broke and ran. Seeing Arjuna pressing steadily through the Kaurava ranks, Dushashan came forward on his chariot and challenged Bibhatsu. Dushashan was supported by a mighty division of elephants which quickly surrounded Arjuna. These tuskers had large bells around their necks, which clanged as they raced about the battlefield. Arjuna next sent up a fierce war cry and began killing the elephants with winged arrows which pierced through their hides. Like a killer whale plunging through the ocean, Arjuna penetrated the elephant division and brought them down one after another. Arjuna struck each elephant with 100 shafts, and they fell like cliffs broken by thunderbolts. Gushing streams of blood, the elephants dropped screaming to the ground. The warriors, fighting on the backs of the elephants, were swept off by Arjuna's shafts, which penetrated 2 or 3 of them at once. Seeing the elephant force in disarray, Dushashan fled. It was impossible to face Arjuna in his present mood. So Dushashan raced up to Drona Acharya, seeking his protection. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Klim Krishnaya Swaha. Mahabharata, second part, chapter 17. Arjuna slaughters the Kauravas. Part 3. Arjuna leaves Drona, who then kills Drishtaketu. Drona Acharya licked his lips and then moved through his forces towards Arjuna. And seeing his preceptor advancing upon him with upraised weapons, Arjuna folded his palms, bowed his head, and then called out, "O Brahmana, wish me well and bless me, for I desire to pass through this impenetrable array of yours. You are the same to me as my own father, or as Yudhishthir, or even Krishna. Thus, even as Ashvathama deserves your protection, being your son, so do I. Now let me pass. I wish to slay that Sindhu ruler. O Lord, O best of men, see to it that my vow is fulfilled." Oh, my dear Bibhatsu, you will not be able to conquer Jayadratha without first defeating me. Drona Acharya then shot 100 arrows at Arjuna in swift succession. The Pandavas skillfully countered them and replied with 100 of his own. Drona warded off Bibhatsu's attack with ease, and at once pierced both him and Krishna with shafts resembling blazing tongues of fire. Drona cut Arjuna's bowstring and covered his chariot with arrows. Bibhatsu attacked Drona back with 600 arrows, fired with such speed that it appeared as if Arjuna had shot only 1 shaft. Bibhatsu followed that with another 700, then 1,000, then 10,000, training them on the warriors supporting Drona. Seeing Arjuna again slaying large numbers of Kaurava troops, Drona pierced Arjuna's chest with a powerful barbed arrow. Hit hard by that shaft, Arjuna trembled like a mountain during an earthquake. But quickly regaining his composure, Bibatsu broke off the arrow which was embedded in his armor. Arjuna focused now his attention on Drona and sent showers of arrows at him. Drona replied by covering Arjuna with shafts. Neither Arjuna nor Krishna nor their chariot was visible as Drona Acharya assailed them with countless arrows which fell in unbroken lines. Working hard, Krishna drove the chariot away from Drona's arrows, and as the chariot came clear of the attack, Krishna said, "O Partha, there is no time to waste. Jayadratha still stands a great distance from here. This battle with Drona could last all day. Leave him aside and proceed ahead with all speed." Arjuna realized that Krishna was right. There was little chance of defeating Drona, nor did Arjuna relish fighting with him. Once again, folding his palms, Arjuna called out, "My lord, I will now take my leave from you. You are my preceptor, and I do not wish to fight with you any further. In all the three worlds, there exists no man who can vanquish you in battle. Now please bless me. I am going on." Krishna then urged on Arjuna's horses, and the chariot raced away, leaving Drona to the right. And as they passed him, Drona shouted out, "Oh, where are you going, Dhananjay? Have you become afraid?" Drona then again released volleys of arrows at Arjuna, but Krishna drove the chariot so fast that all of Drona's shafts fell short. And with Drona still calling out, Arjuna sped away, leaving Drona far behind. Arjuna was joined by Yuddhamanyu and Uttamaujas, two powerful Panchala fighters who had fought their way through to Arjuna. They protected him on either side of his chariot as Arjuna rushed forward into the hostile array. And as Drona turned to chase Arjuna, the Pandava commander Drishtaketu challenged Drona with a roar. Drona turned to face Drishtaketu and was immediately struck by a volley of shafts. Drona's horses, chariot, and chariot driver were all covered by Drishtaketu's arrows. Drona now blazed up like an infuriated mountain lion suddenly roused from slumber. Drona released a razor-faced arrow which cut apart Drishtaketu's bow. Drishtaketu then took up another bow and within an instant fired 100 more arrows. But not minding the attack, Drona shot 4 crescent-headed shafts which slew his enemy's horses and cut down his chariot driver. Drishtaketu bounced off his stationary chariot, mace in hand, and charged Drona Acharya. Whirling about as he ran, Drishtaketu hurled the mace with all of his power, and while spitting fire, it flew directly at Drona. Drona at once shot dozens of hammer-headed shafts, which smashed the mace to pieces. Drishtaketu then picked up a long lance which was lying on the ground and threw it violently. But once again, the Kuru preceptor cut it down mid-flight. Drona then placed a long Anjalika shaft on his bow. Empowering it with mantras, Drona fired it from his fully drawn bow, and it struck Drishtaketu on the chest. The shaft pierced right through the Chedi king and entered the earth behind him. Now seeing his foe falling to the ground, Drona looked around for Arjuna. But Bibatsu had disappeared into the throng. Drona decided to make his way swiftly towards Jayadratha. No doubt, Drona would get his chance again to meet Arjuna there before too long.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Part 4. Shratayush forgets Varuna Dev's warning. After leaving Drona Acharya, Arjuna plunged into the Kauravas. Like maladies afflicting the body, Arjuna afflicted his enemies with fiery shafts. Roaring and blowing his kanchal, Arjuna attacked the Kauravas as if demented. Arjuna launched blazing arrows from his Gandiva bow end to end. They fell unfailingly upon men, horses, and elephants, leaving them floundering. Kritavarma then challenged Arjuna, putting aside their long-standing friendship. The Pandava Arjuna and the Vrishni Kritavarma then fought each other, and no difference could be detected between the two as they matched weapon for weapon. Why, it appeared as if Yamaraj himself were contending with death personified. Arrows charged with mantras collided mid-air with mighty explosions. Both men circled each other, releasing a continuous stream of shafts. Both were pierced in all parts of their bodies as they sought for weak spots in each other. And once again, Krishna advised Arjuna, "Do not spare him, Vijay. You are losing too much time. Forget your relationship with Kritavarma and crush him at once." Now charged with Krishna's warning, Arjuna shot a cluster of shafts at Kritavarma, which broke his bow, sending him reeling. Taking this opportunity, Arjuna rushed past Kritavarma and pressed on into the Kaurava ranks. As Kritavarma came back to his senses, he was assailed by Arjuna's two protectors, who kept Kritavarma at bay as Arjuna pushed forward. Then the Kalinga king, Shrutayus, charged Arjuna. Hurling a huge mace, he closed rapidly on Bibatsu. Vijay sped 36 shafts at Shrutayus, and the king then took up his own bow, sending 50 arrows back at Arjuna. And after an exchange of arrows, Shrutayus jumped down from his chariot and ran straight towards Arjuna with his mace held aloft. Shrutayus, the son of the river Parnasha, had received a boon from Varuna Dev that his mace would prove irresistible to anyone. However, Varuna Dev did warn Shrutayus, "Do not attack anyone who is not fighting, or else this weapon will kill you." But in the heat of the battle, Shrutayus forgot Varuna Dev's warning. and as he reached Arjuna's chariot, he swung his mace at Krishna, dealing him a great blow. Krishna received the blow on his broad shoulders without shaking, even as a mountain is unshaken by a tempest storm. And in accordance with Varuna Dev's words, Shrutayusa's mace turned as he lifted it again to strike Krishna, but it smashed into his own head, killing him. The Kauravas indeed wailed upon seeing their hero killed by his own weapon. Then his army fled, crying out in fear.
Bajahure Manna Srinandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare Durlabha Manava Jannama Satshangi Taroho Bhava Sindhure Maya me tang tarantite Hare nama eva kevalam Abhaya charanara vindare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namah Bhagavate Narasimhaya Namaste Tejase Avir Bhava Vadranaka Vadradangstra Karmashayam Randhaya Tamo Grasa Om Swaha Abhayam Atmani Bhuyishtha Om Shraum. Namaste Narasimhaya Praklada Dayani Hiranyakashi Purvaksha Tankan Kalai Ito Nrsinga Bharata Nrsingo Yato Yami Tato Nrsinga Bahir Nrsinho Hridai Nrsinho Nrsingham Adin Sharanam Prapati Tabakara Kamalakvari Nakham Adbhut Sringam Dalita Hiryakashipu Tanubangam Keshavadvita Hadirupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadita Nrsimha Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha, Jai Jagadisha, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Nasringa, Jaya Nasringa, Jaya Jaya Nrsimha, Prahlada Esha, Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma Bringa.